Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
That's a loaded question.
Oh man. Well, feel free to share. Here, we'll even pause. All right. So go ahead and close your eyes and anchor into your body. Taking a nice deep breath. And adjusting your body so that you feel even more comfortable, whatever that means. And let's go ahead and as we breathe, let it be organic. You're going to move the spine, move the body very slowly, very gently, and paying attention, bringing the awareness to your breathing, continuing to keep the awareness on your breathing. Letting your spine, your movement in your spine, be organic and moved through what would feel good, what needs stretching, what's in alignment with your breathing. And remember that your neck and your head is included in your spine. And letting your breathing be even bigger, more full, more making noise on the exhale. You're both muted, so you can let yourself be free with your breathing. And if you'd like, I'll invite you to stand up. If you want, you can stay seated. Let your body move in whatever way it wants to, but the focus is on the spine and the breath. So if it feels good to stand or to stay seated, to get that movement in the spine, then let yourself do that. Imagine that every movement is guided by the breath. And now gently speeding up the breath just a little bit, just enough to create some awakening, some fire. And now gently bringing yourself back to seated, back to stillness. And pause in this moment. You can stay standing if you'd like. And just become aware of your entire body. Your whole body. And gather your energy in the center of your chest, right at the heart center. And feel here in the heart center And allow this to be the center which you move from. Allow this to be the center which you listen from and speak from. And in the center, what is it that you are being guided to do? Being guided to do for your body, for your mental health? And whatever it is that you're being guided from this center to do, imagine the energy of that guidance becoming like a bright light. And as you breathe, this bright light fills your chest and then fills your body and goes beyond your body, creating a big ball of light that is in you and surrounds you. Continuing to breathe in the energy of that message. And when you feel full of this light and it's radiating out of you, you can wiggle your hands and feet, wiggle your body, bringing yourself out of stillness, blinking your eyes open. Mm. Mm. Does anyone want to share what the message was or what your body was experiencing in that?
I'm getting more talkative as the sessions move on.
Yay!
Um, well, it helps that I have two people on the other end that I feel
Yes.
trust in. So,
Yes. Good.
So you probably pick up on this, Allison, but I'm only half here sometimes during these sessions. I mean, I'm here, I'm
Yeah.
listening, but I'm not necessarily following the guided meditation, not because I'm thinking of something else, but I realize I'm
Threshold.
Yeah, I'm just not quite there somehow.
Yeah.
And so you said ground yourself at the beginning. And I've started to have the habit when we're talking, you've told me many times, get grounded, feel grounded, that my feet feel like they weigh 20 pounds, just like that. And I'm just like, oh, I'm planted now. So I notice little things like that where I'm using energy or whatever differently.
Yep.
But it took me a while to realize you were telling me to move my spine.
Because you were so focused on being grounded.
Well, not just that, I was focusing on the breath and I really was enjoying a calm, easy breath. And I just stayed there. And then I thought, well, I don't want to stand up, but I'll just sit here. And then I felt my spine I just let it be like a little tiny undulation. And I enjoyed that. But this is since I met you, but it's been an ongoing discovery about myself, my body, my emotions, my mind, whatever. And I just, so the message I got was to care for myself, basically, to make sure I'm caring for myself, not just worry about what I'm worried about or pay attention to what someone expects of me or pay attention to where I failed or succeeded, but just care for myself. And I felt that pretty strong. But I still observed myself realizing, well, I get this piece, I don't get that piece. And so, but I really was sort of pleased that I could sort of catch up. Oh, move my spine. Oh, okay.
You're like, oh, I'm with it.
Yeah. And certainly this is a different way of being than I have been for the previous part of my life. So
Awesome.
that's my share.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Really nice. Dana, do you want to share? You don't have to, but if you'd like to, because there's 3 of us.
Ah, that's so funny because one of the things I got was encourage Mark to go first.
Oh, I love it.
Like, don't volunteer this time,
I love
Dana.
it. You were like,
That's partly in relation to some other work I've been doing. So, one is I realize I'm an influencer. I'm the one who goes first, and that's been a huge theme. And really owning that in a bigger way as I'm moving into my own business and space, and understanding that I have that, like, that is a gift or a purpose for me. And, you know, that comes with responsibility, right? Too. So in relation to this, my body really wanted to move and stretch. And I had this experience that I haven't had in a while where everything is popping and cracking, and you're like, things are breaking inside.
there was one point where my back popped at the same time as Mark's chair squeaked, and I was like, "Oh, that did not sound good." I was terrified. Anyway, sorry, I had to interject.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I was probably belching or having my own popping going on in that moment too. I had lots of clearing and just like all of it wanted to get out and just move and stretch all these weird ways. And then was kind of like not so I had so much going on, like we were discussing. And normally, right, it's like pull back, rest, do just what you need to do, right? You don't have to do all the things. We know that. We don't have
Yeah.
to do the things. So, but this time it was like feed your energy, meaning like you have this space for this thing and you have this space for this thing. And part of that is making sure that you're exercising and moving and stretching and eating well. And like, if you want to have the energy to do this thing and this thing, then this is the key piece over here, which is it's not like a crazy go work out. It's like do what we just did for 5 or 10
Yes.
minutes, breathe and move and be. And so that was interesting. And this, like, again, like not rest all around in general, but rest, do this piece and rest from it by engaging in the next piece and then engage in the next piece.
Mhm.
And I'm just really in this, like, things are moving for me, and that can be a little scary for me because I know how easily I get the burnout, right? And the
Mhm.
exhaustion. And so it was just really like, no, you're going to be supported through this, and here's how. And so honor these pieces.
Yeah.
And also just, it doesn't take a ton of time. Like, you don't have to go walk for an hour, although that's great. Take the puppy for a walk for an hour, but just move and breathe for 10 minutes, and how much just that little bit can rejuvenate you, like the breath or the stretching or whatever. So, you know, I feel much better now than when we started the call.
Yay, awesome. Mm, I love that. And it can be, I love what you said. It's just these moments where we just do that. Just let the body move and stretch and, get some oxygen flowing. It really felt like a gentle, it's what I needed too. so, so yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Mhm.
So last week was the first official Pleasure Alchemy session where you were participating with yourself in, these manifestation rituals, these erotic temple rituals, essentially, and creating your own. So I'd love to hear how that went. And I will admit, the last time I did my own ritual was actually way back before class last week. So I would love to hear, though. I hope that you've been able to do it at least once. So if you'd like to share.
Dana has to go first this
I
time.
was going to say, Mark, I'm guessing she's sitting on her hands.
Um, yeah, I wrote out the manifestations were really easy to flow. I kind of did that and put it on my bedside table and then intended to do something. But again, then I had my kids. And so I think I got distracted. And then maybe the next day or the day after was like, oh God, I never finished. So then I had a day or two of like almost like easily integrating it into normal life moments. So I found myself in the shower going, what could this moment and what could be just a little bit more pleasurable in this moment in the shower. So like I lit a candle, I played meditation music, and I was, made sure it was nice and warm and cozy in there, and I locked the dog out, and so it wasn't anything that was like this on this crazy, big scale of anything, but just found myself, at least I have the presence to ask myself during the moments, what could make this more pleasurable?
Yes.
And I did that several times, even if it was like, oh, I'm eating at the counter. How can eating be more pleasurable? Go sit down.
Yes.
Leave your phone in the other room. Like,
Yes.
you're looking at your plate and you're looking at the phone and it just kind of like, oh, look at the snow falling outside. Or, so for me, it was more stuff like that. And I have all this stuff to do, but I found myself in two really amazing phone conversations with this new guy out of the blue, like
Yay.
2-hour phone conversations. I laughed for 2.5 hours the first time. My abs hurt midway through. I was laughing
Oh,
so much.
that's
And we
awesome.
didn't even, like, I couldn't tell you, we weren't talking about anything. Like, it was complete and utter nonsense. But I was like, well, I'm laughing. This feels good. And I'm just going to go with it. So,
I love it.
yeah. So that, yeah. So don't feel bad if you didn't like do it, Mark.
Mark's gonna be the star student this week. He'll be like, actually, I did one every
No,
school.
I'm very happy I was excused in advance of me having to speak. Thank you, Dana.
No problem.
Well, so I admit that I'm skeptical of this whole idea of the alchemy,
Got it.
and which I'm sure you would have known anyway, but I'm admitting it.
Well, I looked in my crystal ball and I saw. No, I'm teasing you.
Whoa. So I am skeptical, and I kept feeling sort of guilty, or should I do that? I wasted days, and I got busy, and anyway, I decided, no, I'm going to do this now. Part of it I might have done anyway,
Right.
And so now I have a brand new Lamborghini in the driveway. It works perfectly.
I figured.
Yeah. But I tried to I only did it once, and I tried to turn it or whatever so that I wanted to be real sincere about why I would want something.
Yeah.
And is this worth wanting? And I picked something, and I wrote it real quickly, a couple sentences. I knew what I was writing meant bigger thoughts, and that's it. So I have no idea if anything will come of it. It is not something I easily accept as a process. In the past, I've read about some of this, particularly people get very talkative if they've read that book. I can't think of the name of the book I'm thinking of, but anyway.
The Secret.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I just, I come from a science and business and, rational, almost aggressive, well, not almost, aggressively rational thinking. And I heard Dana talking about she's the motivator or mover who goes first. And I'm thinking, in the rest of my life, people listen to me. I don't listen to them. I do. I wouldn't be any good at what I do if I didn't listen to them.
Right.
But I sort of drive the engine here. In this, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on with me? What is this spiritual quest? What is, and I've told you personally that before, but Dana probably figured that out a long time ago too about me. But this is just not common sense to me. I can't quite get this one. And so I think in terms of, as you might say, the all that is or something, I think in terms of, okay, in the last year and a half, 2 years, started to get in some relationship or some contact with some universal something. So I'm just going to accept it that way. So that's really all I've got to say about it. I'm skeptical, but there's an element that's been creeping into my life that makes me more accepting than I would have been 2 years ago.
So is there a fear that trying it out will let you down if it doesn't work?
Well, I expect it to let me down.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually, that's part of the problem is I don't, I think about this and I think, well, that makes no
What's
sense.
the point? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more
So
than
that's why I said I tried to purposely say, well, there are other elements in my life that have creeped in over the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
let's approach it that way. An easy way to say it is let's be open-minded. But
Mhm.
it's easier to be open-minded because other things have touched me
Mhm.
that I can put in this realm, this sphere of
Yeah.
new stuff to me, new out of my logical or rational or whatever, my intellectual thought,
Mhm.
and put it somewhere else. So that I'm trying it. I tried it. That's all.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And how did it go when you tried it?
Well, I had a good time.
Good.
But I don't have any idea if what I was trying to manifest is ever going to be there.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's create just a little bit of a bridge by saying that if you wrote something down that you would like to have, and then you had a good time, that maybe you can just believe that you're hypnotizing yourself into associating a good feeling with what you want. And that makes it easier for you to accept it into your life. Because you can
Yeah,
imagine if you feel like uncomfortable about something, like, oh, I want this, but I don't know, you know, it might even be harder just in a very logical way for you to accept it into your life.
well, that's part of what I was saying is I wanted to make sure that what I wanted in this process was
Yeah.
worth wanting, was not some greedy little thing, but it was a big and that was important in
Yes.
other ways other than a Lamborghini or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
I think today's exercise will feel more comfortable, will make more sense to you. So let me just check in and see if there's more that I can.
I would love to share too something more,
Please
but I didn't
do.
want to interrupt.
Please do. Please do.
Uh, okay, so I don't know how much you know about me, Mark. I have a geology degree. I'm very math and science minded. I work in a global brand protection company. I'm a team leader. So, yes, I have these crazy, wild spiritual experiences because I'm here on a specific mission. However, I'm currently in a program that discusses all of this from a math and science mind,
Mm,
called mind hacking, and it's all the neural networks and neuroscience behind the things. Um, and so I was getting a double dose of this, and so that I just kept wanting to offer up that limiting beliefs around this stuff. Like it would be good to dive into. Um, and that's what I've been doing. I mean, it's around everything. We all have them. We're
yeah.
programmed with limiting beliefs, but really looking at that.
Mhm.
And then I just wanted to share one of mine and bring up the evidence for it because sometimes the manifestation or the evidence for it doesn't show up the way we think it's going to. So um, part of mine and just believing in a friendly universe that's conspiring for you. Um, so one of mine was I love my tribes. Everyone is so genuine and supportive, truly motivational, inspiring, dependable. I have made such great connections. And so even though this challenge I was in is done, the connections are still there. I'm still connected and communicating with the people in ways that are surprising me in a good way. And I seem to be bringing in people step by step around me who are resonant, know my value, know my worth, because I now do, because I've done that much work, right? So for me, that was evidence. And my home feels so cozy and peaceful, completed and decorated. I'm giddy with how perfect it turned out and how easy it flowed. So my dishwasher has been broken for well over a month. My parents are in their 70s and like to say they don't have much money. And then my mom likes to materialize money out of thin air when I least expect it. So I have all these things that need to be done, and I've been diligently looking for a cash out refinance that doesn't cost a lot, right? So last week, my mom calls me and is like, we feel really bad we're not there to help you, and we haven't been visiting, and we'd love to buy you a dishwasher and have your old one hauled off and reinstalled. Okay. 2 days later, she calls me and she goes, so it turns out that because we're this age, the government only lets us save X amount of dollars. And because of COVID and not being able to travel, we are now have all this extra money, and we would like to offer you to be your cash out refinance for when you need money at no interest, and you can just pay us back in the future when you sell the home. I could not, like, that did not come out of my brain. That was all the universe.
Yes.
Because it also made me expand into trusting my mother in a relationship that has been very fraught, because she believes every piece of me in this spiritual energetic sense. Her words, it's mumbo jumbo. Doesn't believe in counseling.
And she shows up. I'm the universe.
All the time. So my family are the skeptics. My family are the naysayers. They are my, triggers. And yet here comes the universe like, can you expand? Can you hold this relationship? All these dynamics at play, right? So for me, that was really just, evidence in a very creative way that I could not have pulled out of my brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's remarkable. Thank you for telling me that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, so my background is, biochemistry. My background is crazier than that the music business and a lot of stuff. And then I always thought in scientific terms, and then somehow by accident, I became a business consultant, and I manage big groups of people. And that's why I said I'm used to people just paying attention. I walk into a meeting and everybody waits for me to speak, kind of thing. And so to hear you say you come from a sort of a similar life viewpoint, and that you could get into this spiritual world and have it be effective for you is really encouraging. Because all you've ever talked about in these sessions has not given me a single clue that you had that other background. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Quantum metaphysics is phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
That's the magic. That's the magic right there. I don't need to say anything more. I love it. Thank you both. Thank you both. And thanks for being open to things that feel undefined, So that was magical. This week, what we're going to be practicing is moving our orgasmic energy up through the body. So this week, it's not necessarily direct manifestation, but what we're learning is how to move that energy up the body, because next week we're going to be incorporating more with it. But I want you to practice this first. And this, what we can use it for is we can use it for manifestation. We can use it for body healing. We can use it for emotional healing. So that's a form of manifestation because it's bringing the immaterial to the material, right? Through orgasmic energy. So the first part of this is we're going to do spinal breathing. Have we introduced spinal breathing yet? Maybe? Okay, okay. A very long time ago. Okay.
Well, was it the loop up through the head around?
Similar, yes.
Oh,
Very
okay.
similar. This time we're imagining, the mallets that you hit and it does the little up thermometer, whatever, and try to hit the bell at the top. That's, the most impressive way that I can explain it right now. I don't know what those are called. So what we're doing is we're moving this ball of energy up and down the spine. And we're going to learn how to do that while you're engaging in sexual play and orgasm. Okay. So this goes with the breath. So we'll just practice it right now. What you're going to do is you're going to have a ball of energy. You can sense it. You can imagine it. You can, see it with your inner eye, however you do it, right? So some people are more visual. You might want to see it. For others, you might want to sense that it's there. It's a ball of energy, and it starts at the base of the spine. And as you inhale, it comes up the spine. And we have done this part out through the center of the head, and we've got to clean that area first. So it goes up the spine, into the back part of the skull, into the center, and out through the third eye. And then on the exhale, it goes back down. Same pathway. It's kind of like dental floss. Breathing it up. Exhaling, it goes back down. Breathing it up. Exhaling, it goes back down. When you feel those channels open, it will naturally start to go out of the top of the head instead of out through the third eye. And then we're a fountain, and it goes all around us, not just to the front, it goes all around us like a toroidal field, like a big donut. Reabsorbs back into the body, back up through the root and up the spine. So it continuously moves along the pathway of the spine. Now, do you all feel comfortable with that, or do you want to practice it for a minute? Practice? Okay, let's just do a couple minutes. Each inhale, lifting the ball of energy up through the spine. Each exhale, bringing it down. And if you don't automatically sense the switch, that's okay. Let yourself guide it up through the top of the head and just see how that feels. It should feel really comfortable and natural and even desired. when you're ready, you can start to let the energy settle again. You can just allow this white light or this ball of energy to disperse throughout your body and your aura. So, with the spinal breathing, how did that feel, by the way?
For me, it felt okay.
Okay.
Not quite as strong as I would like it. I have done this before and felt it a little more profoundly, probably with you, and I thought, well, it's not, I'm stuck at the back of my neck,
Awesome.
and
That's actually good to hear.
I have a pronounced bump on the back of my skull. Most people have at least a small one,
Mhm.
and I realized, I mean, this is almost like a joke to me. Oh, I've had two lovers that were fascinated by that bump.
Mm.
And I wonder if, wow, is this the secret? Get the energy up to that bump?
They're like, it's supposed to push it, it'll go past it.
I don't know, but I'm gonna play with it later.
You should. You should, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Dana,
Okay.
I'd love to hear too. How'd it go?
Um, so it's interesting. So earlier I forgot to share, I've been seeing a chiropractor. I have some things, but it's been like 2 weeks and I can really tell my ribs and my neck are out. And so this, it like my I it's hard to bring it out here, but I was able to do it for a while. It immediately wants to do the
Yes.
further along
Awesome.
piece. And then interesting though, because then it switched. It wanted to come from top and go this way.
Mm.
And then they both merged at my heart.
Mm.
So I get like really like the energy is it was just a light show and an energy and these iridescent, and so it's, how to explain it? It's like if my heart is the center and that toroidal field is going all around me, but energy is coming from both things. So if you can imagine it's going like this, like doing
Yeah.
all this crazy. And I'm like, okay, this is what's happening because I was trying to control it. And I definitely, it was like, forget it. It's going to do what it
Beautiful.
wants.
I'm really curious about that. I kind of want to pause and just see how that integrates with the exercise. Hmm. I'm hearing that's what happens when both channels are open, right? So I just want to ask how to use this exercise that I'm going to show you all with that. It can still be used. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to mess up the flow. And of course, whatever is coursing through you, follow that. I'm glad that you like trust yourself. Um, but this exercise works with the upward bound energy field. So it's still totally going to work. In fact, I saw the heart and I saw the third eye. Like this particular exercise really can activate your chakras, particularly anywhere that you're blocked. But the third eye orgasm from this is so profound. And so, but it can really happen anywhere in the body. So, what we're doing with that energy ball as we're doing this spinal breathing is first make sure you get comfortable with the spinal breathing as a process, even if it's the toroidal fields going both directions. Just start to practice it a little bit. When you feel comfortable with the breathing, when it's not throwing you off, then engage in self-pleasure with it. And what you're going to do, and I am talking about genital orgasm, so I like to delineate because orgasm is so many things, but for this exercise, we're talking about genital orgasm. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing that spinal breathing and breath work while you are engaging in self-pleasure. And then once you get to the place right before orgasm and during orgasm, you are very consciously taking that orgasmic feeling, that orgasmic physical feeling as energy and bringing it up through the spine. Now, if you're doing spinal breathing and you notice that it stops at the heart or it stops at the throat or wherever it stops at the back of the neck, totally awesome. Because what you're doing, orgasmic energy on a physical level is incredibly healing for the body. So you're going to be taking that energy and you're going to be bringing it up through the body. And it's going to stop wherever it's going to be doing the most healing. A lot of times when I do this exercise, it stops at the second or third or the heart. It's going to stop at a different chakra because that's where you need the energy. So when it stops at that chakra, when you're doing this spinal breathing and you experience an orgasm on a physical level and you're bringing it up through the body, you're going to notice where it wants to kind of stop and just allow it to open that energy up. If it starts to get uncomfortable, because sometimes it can, because it feels like, oh, I'm not supposed to be sending it through there. It's supposed to go all the way through. You do want to concentrate on it going all the way up through the top of the head, right? This is actually how I healed myself from having painful orgasms. They used to be massively uncomfortable. I didn't actually like to have an orgasm because they were physically uncomfortable. It was like an atomic bomb going off in my genitals. So I needed the energy to move. And what I've discovered through this is that it can actually open up your chakras and my orgasms are no longer uncomfortable and painful. And it's because we're not actually meant to keep all that energy in one area. We're actually meant to bring it up through the body or send it through a partner in that battery pack, right? Sending it through a partner. And it doesn't matter what your gender is, you can send it through a partner or you can receive it. You're going to find that natural balance for what you need that day. But for this exercise, we're sending it up through the spine. The spine has several gateways. Those are our chakras. And we're going to find where in our body needs it. Now, as we're sending it up, keep breathing. Even if it stops in one place, keep breathing it up all the way through the top of the head. Imagine it going out through the top of the head. And as you're doing this, I always like to say, put a gold bubble around yourself. Put a golden bubble around yourself because it's going to help you contain in a healthy way without placing extraneous boundaries, contain this energy in a healthy way so that it's self-feeding. That's what we're working with right now, right? Keeping it within your own system. And if you do this work with a partner, it's still keeping it within that contained field. So put a gold energy bubble around you and then practice sending it up through the top of the head, all the way up through the spine, through the top of the head, right? And again, it's practice. So if you're like, it's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. If you're like, how do I breathe and concentrate? And I don't know. And I totally lost it. That's okay. Just practice, Practice spinal breathing on its own if you need to. Practice self-touch on its own if you need to. Whichever part you need to practice. Right? So how does that sound? Does that make sense? Okay, any questions? Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'm really excited to hear how it goes for you guys.
I actually have a question.
Please do. Yes.
we don't need, this is it on its own. We don't need to bring in the piece of writing down manifestations again or anymore.
No, well, we're putting that on pause. You can practice it again, but this is a separate one. And then next week, we're going to kind of be a little more cumulative.
Okay.
If you want, this is a manifestation on its own. If you want, you can say thank you, right? Thank you as that energy is moving through you. That's a manifestation and a prayer all on its own, right? So let this be a standalone exercise simply because we don't want it to be too mental, you know. Let's practice one thing at a time, but you can absolutely in the future combine them all and play with it all and woo, let the whole world up. So, okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes. I will add, just as an aside, in fact, I should do this for the throat because my throat's a bit scratchy. You can send this healing energy anywhere in your body. The key is get that breath work going through the spine so that you've got a nice full energy pack going on. And then, I really like sending it through the spine. It's the central channel and you can light up your chakras. But if you have something within your body, this is also a practice I use for that. You can send that to the liver. You can send it to, your shoulder. You can play with that this week. Yes.
I have a question. It's kind of a favor. Feel free to say no, but
Okay.
while we're here, I'm having some sort of detox intestinal something that I've been trying to work through, and I'm just wondering if there's an area I can focus to help this particular issue I'm having.
Mm. That is part of why I say go into the chakras, because when we focus on the heart chakra, we're going to be healing anything that's out of balance due to the heart being out of balance. And that includes unexpected things. Same with the second chakra or the first chakra. So I would stay focused on the chakras.
Okay.
And see if you are led during this exercise organically to discover which chakra this is related to, because it's really interesting. It could be related to the root, could be related to, the second where your intestines are, it could be related to the first where you're starting that digestion, could be related to here, right? Could be all of that, So try it out with the chakras first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of like more encompassing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Reiki?
What about Reiki?
Well, I mean, she could use Reiki.
Yes.
She learned that too.
Yes.
I just find this remarkable because I've also had an intestinal thing going on earlier in the week.
You two are like mirroring each other.
Yeah, and it was something that I've really, it's not normal for me, and so I just sat down and a couple times just tried to work with Reiki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm better, but it took a good 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So I'll try not to share too much information. Mine's been going on well over a month, and it
Wow.
involves smells. So like I think my entire refrigerator smells like my body does when it's coming out of my pores, which smells like when I use the restroom. And so I cleaned out my refrigerator even. I'm like, probiotics, lemon water, no processed foods, no sugar, less meat, doing all these things, but it's been an extended period of time now, and it's better than it was, but now my body doesn't want to, I don't think it's absorbing the nutrients from food. It's just like get everything out, right? And so yeah, I've definitely been working, like doing Reiki, you know, laying in bed, hands on the abdomen, like doing the things, you know. And so it's just it's getting a little old, you know.
Yeah. And in this sense, the zoom out where it's less focused on where is the pinpoint and it's more chakras and whole body, even just
Yeah.
whole body.
Okay.
Because really with this breathing exercise, you're not necessarily stopping it yourself. You're not saying, oh, I need it in the heart today. You're doing the spinal breathing and you're giving awareness to where the energy kind of stops, right? Naturally. And that
Yeah.
could give you a clue, you know?
Sure.
So
Yeah, I would like to eat normal food again. I
I
can't.
know. Oh, I know.
I will try it.
See what happens. See what happens.
Mhm.
The universe is lovingly conspiring for you.
Yeah. For
You
my
got-
health.
You what?
For my health.
For your health. For your
For
health.
all of our health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll take that one on too. Well, thank you both for being here. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you.
Let's make some magic, and I will see you next week on Tuesday.
Bye-bye, both of you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See you.